Have you ever had a morning where almost everything felt perfectly normal, until suddenly it wasn't? That morning, Mr. Leonard, a 72-year-old man from Ohio, woke up like any other day. He got the paper, then brewed for his usual black coffee, a 30-year habit. But just about 20 minutes later, he collapsed right there in his kitchen. By the time paramedics arrived, he was unconscious, and the diagnosis was confirmed: a stroke. Mr. Leonard's story is not uncommon. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, up to 97% of people who suffer a stroke in the morning share one common trait, a seemingly harmless detail they never even noticed. The frightening truth is, a stroke doesn't announce itself, but it leaves behind irreversible consequences. And the worst part is that the vast majority of victims have no idea they're standing at the edge of a precipice. The morning, a time we think of as a gentle beginning, is actually the most dangerous part of the day for people over 65. You might feel a little tired, a bit dizzy when you stand, or simply not hungry. But those very signs, if they repeat, could be your body's silent warning. Today, I want to walk you through three seemingly harmless things that 97% of stroke victims experience on that fateful morning. This information might startle you, but more importantly, it will help you proactively protect yourself before it is too late. If you care about your health and making smart lifestyle choices after 65, stick with me until the end. Because one small change to your morning routine could save the rest of your life. Now let's begin with the first sign, the one that happens silently but is the most dangerous: a sudden blood pressure spike right after you wake up. Sign 1, a sudden spike in blood pressure after waking up. Imagine you have just opened your eyes in the morning, the air is still cool, and you are about to sit up to start your day. But in that very moment, your heart beats unusually fast, your head feels a bit swimmy, your hands and feet tremble slightly. You think you're just not fully awake, then you try to stand up. However, what just happened wasn't merely a feeling. According to numerous medical studies in the United States, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. is when human blood pressure naturally surges, especially noticeably in people over 65. This is a real physiological response, as the body releases the hormone cortisol to help you wake up and get moving. But for older adults, whose blood vessels are no longer as elastic, whose hearts are no longer strong enough to pump steadily, that surge is no longer normal. It becomes a lurking danger. A neurologist in Minnesota once shared, "I've seen many stroke patients within just 30 minutes of waking. They had no warning symptoms, only felt slightly dizzy, then suddenly lost consciousness." And the noteworthy thing is, most of them never checked their morning and blood pressure. Mr. Thomas, a 69-year-old from San Diego, is one example. Every morning he felt confident in his health because he slept well. But one morning, as he entered the bathroom, he felt his vision go dark. A few minutes later, he was rushed to the hospital with a minor stroke. There, his blood pressure was measured at 180/100, a dangerous number, especially in the morning. The cause isn't just age, but also habits you might be doing every morning, like sitting up too fast, drinking coffee on an empty stomach, or rushing out of bed without a gentle warm-up. All of these can cause blood pressure to spike, putting pressure on the walls of your brain's blood vessels. And with just one small weak spot, a stroke can take an extra 2 minutes to lie still in bed after waking. Breathe deeply, move your limbs gently, then slowly sit up. If you can, check your morning blood pressure for a week to understand your body's danger curve. That simple act could be the first shield against a stroke. And if you have ever felt dizzy in the morning, please don't dismiss it. Consider it a quiet reminder from your body that it is time you need to take better care of yourself. A stroke doesn't wait until you are ready, but you can get ahead of it just by slowing your breath each morning. Sign 2, unusual fatigue or light dizziness. Have you ever had a morning where you woke up feeling exhausted despite getting a full night's sleep? Your body feels heavy as lead, your mind groggy as if emerging from a haze. You sit up, take a few steps, but have to hold on to a chair because you feel a bit dizzy. Many people assume it's just old age, or because I went to bed late, and try to ignore it. But that is precisely when the body is sounding an alarm. Feeling unusually tired or slightly dizzy in the morning isn't just a sign of sleep deprivation. In people over 60, it can be an early sign of a sudden drop in blood flow to the brain, one of the hidden factors leading to a stroke. Listen to the story of Mrs. Linda, a 74-year-old from Florida. She always woke up early, ate regularly, but for several weeks, she started feeling heavier each morning. One day, she had to sit listlessly for nearly half an hour before she could go downstairs. She thought she had a mild cold, until one morning she collapsed on the walkway. The diagnosis? A transient ischemic attack, a type of minor stroke that, if not recognized in time, leads to more severe complications within weeks. The problem is, this kind of fatigue usually isn't accompanied by intense pain or obvious symptoms. It is just like a thin fog covering your mind and body, making you likely to be complacent. But its silence is what causes thousands of older adults in the United States to have a stroke each year without any warning. Medically, a feeling of lightheadedness in the morning can be related to postural hypotension. When you move from lying to standing too quickly, blood hasn't reached the brain yet. It can also stem from an irregular heartbeat, lack of oxygen to the brain, or even low blood sugar after a long night without food. Each factor is a link in the chain of risk for an early morning stroke. So what should you do? First, listen to your body. If you wake up one morning with a heavy head and weary limbs, don't rush out of bed. Lie still for a few minutes, gently stretch your legs and arms, then sit up slowly. When you stand, and if you still feel dizzy and lean against a wall or chair, don't try to walk immediately. And if this happens regularly, get a general health checkup, especially for your heart and blood sugar levels. Remember, unusual fatigue is not something you should get used to. It could be the first knock on the door of a major event that you can absolutely prevent, as long as you don't ignore it. In the next section, I will share a habit that seems very small but is contributing to raising your blood pressure in the morning. A habit that seems easy to quit, but could cost you your life. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, let me know by dropping a 2 in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd encourage you to hit that follow button and ring the bell so you don't miss new videos. Your support helps us continue creating more useful and inspiring content. Sign 3. Skipping breakfast or eating too much salt. Do you remember what you ate this morning? Or did you skip breakfast, a habit to keep your stomach light? Or perhaps you just had a few strips of bacon, a slice of toast with salty butter, or a savory bowl of soup, thinking, I'm used to it, it's fine. But for people over 60, breakfast itself or its absence is a key factor that determines the stability of blood pressure and blood flow to the brain in the early morning. Numerous studies in the United States have shown skipping breakfast increases stroke risk by up to 36% in older adults. It sounds unbelievable, but when you leave your stomach empty after a long night, your body activates a stress hormone response, especially the cortisol and adrenaline. These two hormones increase heart rate, constrict blood vessels, and push blood pressure higher. Exactly the factors that contribute to a stroke. A specific example is Mr. Bill, a 76-year-old living in Arizona, who habitually skipped breakfast because he didn't feel hungry. One morning while watering plants outside, he suddenly felt a headache, his vision blurred, and he collapsed. A subsequent CT scan showed he had just experienced a transient ischemic stroke. The doctor said if he had been 15 minutes later, the consequences could have been much more severe. Besides skipping the meal, another often underestimated factor is eating a very salty breakfast. Many seniors enjoy pickles, cold cuts, or flavorful cheeses, foods that are easy to eat and familiar. But the high salt content in these items can cause the blood to retain water, increasing pressure within the vessels, and inadvertently pushing blood pressure even higher, especially in the morning, when the body has naturally dehydrated overnight. This is an extremely dangerous taste trap. You eat out of habit, it tastes good, but inside your vascular system is under pressure you cannot even feel. And if you already have a history of high blood pressure, heart disease, or diabetes, then just one salty breakfast is enough to push your circulatory system to its limit. What should we do? It's very simple. Prioritize a light, complete, but low-salt breakfast, like oatmeal, a boiled egg, fresh fruit, or a slice of whole wheat toast with unsalted nut butter. If you don't feel hungry, even just a glass of warm milk or herbal tea can help wake up your digestive system and stabilize your blood sugar. Don't start your day on an empty stomach, because when you starve your body, you are also neglecting your chance to protect yourself. Remember, every breakfast is a critical decision, not just for your digestive system, but for your brain and heart as well. And you can absolutely start over tomorrow with a simpler but healthier breakfast, because sometimes your very life is decided by the first bite of the day. We've just gone through three seemingly minor signs that are present in almost every morning before a stroke occurs. A sudden blood pressure spike just after waking, a feeling of fatigue or light dizziness despite enough sleep, and the habit of skipping breakfast or eating too much salt. All of these things, if they happen individually, you might not pay attention. But when they appear repeatedly, especially after age 65, it could be a serious warning from your body that you should not ignore. The good news is a stroke is not destiny. It doesn't strike as suddenly as we think. It leaves traces, small signals every morning. And if you are observant enough, concerned enough, you can absolutely see them and act in time. It does not have to be a major change. Sometimes it is just sitting still for a few minutes before leaving your bed, drinking a glass of warm water instead of strong coffee, or choosing a lighter breakfast. Those things, small as they are, when accumulated, can be the first barrier against a major life event. Now, I want you to take a few seconds to ask yourself, this morning, did I feel dizzy? Did I eat breakfast? Have I checked my blood pressure recently? If the answers make you a bit uneasy, that is not a reason to worry. It is an opportunity to start changing, starting tomorrow morning. Allow yourself to adjust one small habit, just one. Maybe it is eating earlier or simply resting a few minutes before getting out of bed, because you deserve a healthy, independent, and peaceful old age, uninterrupted by preventable crises. Thank you for spending your time listening all the way to the end. If you found today's insights helpful, please leave a comment about what resonated most with you or what habit you'll change first starting tomorrow. Your sharing could be a valuable reminder for others and motivation for us to continue spreading important information like this. See you in the next video, where every new morning is a chance to live more fully, more mindfully, and more safely.